You're watching ELN Local News.
Our top stories tonight.
T-Pain announced as this year's homecoming performer, but will the $12 price tag turn students away?
Racing away from home, how one track and field athlete is finding her footing 4,000 miles from home.
And the Burlington Carousel Festival. It's been going on for 31 years, but for the first time it was missing its main attraction.
Those stories and more.
ELN Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and welcome to Elon Local News. I'm Brian Ray.
And I'm Maeve Ashbrook.
New today, Elon's Student Union Board announced T-Pain as this year's homecoming performer. While the event will be held for the second time in Schar Center, this year concertgoers are footing the bill to rent the space and for the equipment. For the first time, students will be charged a $10 ticket price and a $2 processing fee if they buy tickets ahead of time. Those interested in buying tickets at the door will be charged $30. Sub-executive members Abby Cates and Caitlin Pfaff say students need to keep an open mind about the pricing.
I feel like the fee is not that great that it would deter people from going, and you probably spend more than that at Target.
And then we're also thinking, because we have the release date for the artist before Parents Weekend, hopefully if students have issues, their parents will be here this upcoming weekend, and maybe they'll toss up a couple dollars.
Cates and Pfaff say they are still looking for T-Pain's opening act.
And we took to the streets of Elon to see how students feel about T-Pain as this year's homecoming performer and the price of admission.
I am so excited. T-Pain is the man. I will be there early, front row. T-Pain, very awesome. It's going to be a really good time, and I'm glad they chose him.
He was one of my favorite artists with Chris Brown, way back when. Throwbacks are going to be legendary, and it's going to be an all-around amazing time. I can feel it.
It's going to keep the school, paid for what they're offering the students. I think it's a good thing. It's necessary. Yeah.
No, because I'm probably not going to go.
I think that's a steal because $10 is a really great price for a concert.
I don't care. You can use Phoenix Cash, so it just goes along with the tuition.
I'm really excited for T-Pain to come. I'll be there. I'll be right in the front, singing along.
Students interested in attending can buy their tickets now for the concert by visiting return.com/Elon. Tickets for alumni, faculty, and staff will go on sale starting on September 30th and for the public on October 7th.
Members of the Kappa Sigma fraternity are all moved out of their on-campus house. Students living there had until yesterday to relocate to other available rooms on campus. This comes after an email addressed to chapter presidents and executive council members announced the fraternity would be kicked off campus Wednesday night. Elon News Network went to Kappa Sigma's on-campus house looking to get details on their move, but they declined to comment.
We already moved out.
You already moved out? Do you have any comments?
No, I do not.
No comments? Okay, thank you.
Now, this may not be the last we hear from the fraternity. Kappa Sigma has 1 month to appeal the decision made by the Kappa Sigma national headquarters. And if Kappa Sigma decides to try and reestablish their chapter at Elon in the future, the process isn't simple. After also being kicked off campus, the Pi Kappa Phi fraternity was reestablished at Elon in 2018. And while the university recognizes the fraternity, the chapter is not recognized by nationals. President of Pi Kappa Phi, Gray Boline, says that the reestablishment process is challenging.
I would just say to uphold the national standards and do what it doesn't matter if the school's on your side. It's about pleasing nationals.
In a statement to Elon News Network regarding the decision to appeal, Kappa Sigma President Sam Olson says, quote, "We have no intention of doing that," end quote.
We reported last month that Elon's new strategic plan will focus on mental health and wellness. This Wednesday is the first day of the Mental Health Summit. The event will bring speakers from around the world to Elon's campus to talk about taking care of yourself both mentally and physically. Professor of Exercise Science Eric Hall is one of the organizers of the event and says this new focus comes after seeing too many suicides on a college campus.
This summit and also for the ABC campaign is to really try to destigmatize some of these issues around mental health and view it much more positively, and also view it as, you can't be mentally healthy if you're not physically healthy.
The ABC campaign stands for Act, Belong, Commit and is a part of a new initiative on ELN's campus for students to be more intentional while focusing on their mental health. Professor of Exercise Science Caroline Ketchum says she hopes students walk away from the event with a new attitude towards mental health.
This is something you can do every day. It's not a big task. It's, you know, let's go for a walk. Let's have a conversation. Let's read a good book. Let's get people together to play a game. That those are meaningful for human connection.
The Mental Health Summit will be held in upstairs Lakeside and McKinnon Hall starting this Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. with a keynote address from Robert J. Donovan, founder of the Act, Belong, Commit campaign. The event will include panels with ELN community members all day on Thursday.
Longtime ELN physician Bob Ellington has died following a lengthy illness. Ellington oversaw the health center for 18 years and helped grow the facility from a part-time station to a full-time office. The university's Ellington Health Center is named in his honor and continues to house counseling services, student health services, and faculty and staff wellness. Ellington's funeral will be at 2 p.m. next Sunday at the Front Street United Methodist Church in Burlington. Coming up after the break, the new freshman class president, Jamar Martin, will be live with us in studio.
The freshman class may have only been here for a month, but their new SGA class officers are already hard at work. Joining us now in studio to discuss his new role as the president of the class of 2023 is Jamar Martin. Jamar Martin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So when you were first elected and your victory was first announced, you told ELN that you were shocked and just very surprised that you won. Tell us why you told us that.
You know, I ran against a lot of great people. Aiden Burnside had a beautiful, beautiful campaign on social media that I did not have, and he had a lot of likes and a lot of impressions on his social media campaign, and that really did scare me.
And so you've only really been here for about a month. How do you feel like you're going to make the necessary connections to have a successful administration this year?
Well, the class of 2023 is a really flexible class. We definitely know a lot of people, and we're definitely open to doing a lot more. And that's what I believe is something that's going to make me, as well as my team, a lot more coming together.
And so this weekend was the SGA retreat.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and what you've learned.
Yeah, definitely. So we went to the beach, went to the Outer Banks, and that was an absolutely beautiful space. I do recommend everyone to go. But we definitely learned about leadership and how to bring a community together, especially because mental health and awareness is very important in today's times. So we were definitely going to be working on that as a whole student government.
And so you talked about how the social media campaign of one of your opponents had a lot of interaction. So tell me a little bit about your election process and a little bit more like that shocked and confused.
Sure.
Feeling.
So we definitely, well, my team definitely did a grassroots campaign. We definitely went out and speak to everyone we could. And that really did help us out. And, you know, while I don't really use social media, I might have to now, but while I don't use social media, I definitely won just by talking to people.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Jamar. I hope you have a wonderful year.
You too.
Today is the first official day of fall, and people will be trading in their slushies for pumpkin spice lattes. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, January is always a low point for business activity. But for local businesses that rely on warmer weather, that slump can come as early as October.
Big fan of working outdoors, working with my hands, getting dirty, dealing with the people, the seasonal change.
Paul LaPara is the owner of Garden Valley Farmers Market. With their busiest season behind them, LaPara says business is starting to slow as fall approaches.
You don't have 3 months, 4 months of beautiful weather. Everybody's getting ready for cold weather.
LaPara says he and his staff work 7 days a week during peak season, piling all their weekends and holidays. But once all the pumpkins have been picked, staff gets ready to close up for the off-season, leaving them out of work for a few months.
A family man, I have 3 boys, so it's good for me to be able to, you know, I spend as much time as I can with them.
But that's not the case for everyone. Jaden Stevens has been working at Pelican Snowballs for 3 seasons.
And you know, the numbers start to thin as the weather, you know, gets colder.
Stevens says they usually close in October and reopen in March, leaving him out of work for nearly 5 months.
Yes, when I first started, I was a junior in high school, so I usually made enough money to get myself by. But you know, me being in college now, I have to have a little bit more of a financial need.
Stevens says he's currently looking for another job for this year to keep the cash flowing. Well, Maeve, luckily Pelicans is still open for a few more months, so if you're looking for a last-minute slushie on these not-so-fallish fall days, you can still do that.
And speaking of those not-so-fallish fall days, we have our Baylor Rodman live under the Oaks with the Phoenix 5-day forecast. Baylor, what can you tell us?
Well, thank you, Maeve and Brian. It's great to be out here under the Oaks as we celebrate the official start to the autumn season. Although fall is now here, the summer weather is definitely still sticking around. Right now at this hour, it is 87 degrees. And tonight we're going to see some mainly clear skies with a low of just 66. Let's move now into your Phoenix 5-day forecast, where you can see the highs for the next 5 days are in the high to low to mid 90s. So that summer weather is definitely still going to be around. Tomorrow is going to be mostly sunny. Wednesdays, we're going to see a lot of sunshine and very warm and humid weather. Thursdays, where that temperature is really going to jack up to 94 degrees there, where again, we're going to have plenty of sunshine and hot weather. Friday will be 90 degrees as parents roll into town for Parents Weekend. It's going to be mostly sunny and pretty warm outside as well. Saturday for the big game versus JMU here at Rhodes Stadium, our high is 93 degrees with a low of just 67. A few clouds may roll into the area throughout the course of the day, but it is going to be pretty warm and pretty humid, so make sure you're staying hydrated during that game. Other than that, that's your Phoenix 5-day forecast, but summer sticking around.
Baylor Rodman tonight, thank you.
Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th, and to celebrate this time, this week's pendulum will largely be dedicated to the Hispanic community on Elon's campus. Joining us to talk more about it is Maria Ramirez live in the newsroom. Maria?
Thanks, Brian. That's right. We're currently working on the second annual Hispanic Heritage Month special edition of the paper. We are currently working on this, and it's really a space to celebrate both Hispanic population on campus as well as in the community. This is actually our first fully bilingual special edition of the paper, so all articles are in both English and Spanish, which is really exciting. Some of the stories that you can look forward to are about Hispanic representation on campus, an inside look into the life of a Puerto Rican champion surfer, as well as some features into the lives of faculty and staff that are Hispanic identifying. Thanks, Brian.
Maria Ramirez live in the newsroom. Thanks, Maria.
After a brutal loss to Wake Forest this weekend, the Elon football team faces a familiar competitor next weekend. Also, with Hispanic Heritage Month underway, what it's like for an international student to be an athlete at Elon. Don't go anywhere.
Joining us now live at the desk is Caitlin Rundle. Caitlin, what's new in sports?
So actually, all of our sports this weekend were away, and unfortunately not a lot of them had very much success. We had men's soccer who lost 3-2, we had women's soccer who lost 4-3, and then we had volleyball who was away at the Jefferson Cup. They won 1, lost 2. But the talk of the weekend was our Phoenix football team as they took on Wake Forest. The odds were stacked against the Phoenix from the beginning, and the game ended in Demon Deacon favor 49-7. The lone Phoenix touchdown came from a 40-yard pass from junior Davis Cheek that connected with sophomore Avery Jones, his second of the season. Jones had the highest receiving yards of the team, and senior Deshaun McNair earned his season high of rush yards, totaling 49 yards. Senior Daniel Reed Bennett also made noise with his interception midway through the second quarter. Reed Bennett ended the game with a career high of tackles ending with 13. This was the first time the Phoenix faced off against the Demon Deacons since 2015, where the Phoenix lost 41-3. The game that everyone's been waiting for is coming up this Saturday for Family Weekend. Elon will be playing James Madison University for the first time since the Phoenix historic win last year. As if that wasn't exciting enough, it will be the return of former head coach Kurt Signetti, as well as 6 other coaches who were previously on the Elon coaching staff. Signetti recruited the sophomore through senior year class and was heavily involved with the recruitment of this year's freshman class. John Sarver has more.
The last time Elon and JMU faced off, Davis Cheek connected with Avery Jones for the game-winning touchdown to pull off the upset. This year, the Dukes will be heading to Rhodes Stadium for a rematch with the Phoenix. Following Elon's 49-7 loss to Wake Forest, Elon's head coach Tony Trisciani will look to prepare his team for the rivalry game.
Like every game, we're going to go back, we're going to grade the film, we're going to coach off the film. Our guys got to play against some great competition today, so it's good. I mean, when you play a team like this, and it prepares you for what's next. I mean, we'll be a better football team for it.
The Phoenix are 1-6 all-time against the Dukes. But coming off a win last year, sophomore defensive back Cole Coleman expressed his confidence in the team.
We can compete with anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. JMU is a big name. We don't care. We've seen them before. We beat them before. So I think we're ready to go see them.
The biggest change in this rivalry is the change in leadership. Following the 2018-2019 season, Kurt Signetti left Elon to take over as head coach at JMU. Trisciani says that this will not factor in how the team gets ready.
You know, it's tough to say it's a nameless, faceless opponent. I mean, we know who we're playing, but we're going to prepare the same way for JMU as we prepare for everybody else.
John Sarver, Elon Local News.
Kickoff for Saturday is set for 2 p.m. For student athletes, it can be already a big challenge to balance sports with school, but for Elon sophomore Gabriela Viscaro de Oliveira, it was a cultural barrier as an athlete from Brazil that brought her the most challenge both on the track and in the classroom. Our Grace Morris has the story.
Passion
to like being at the track
and drive.
Since then, I never stopped.
Are two things that sophomore track and field athlete Gabriela Varisco de Oliveira brought with her from home.
I like everything about it. I really like racing.
But home isn't as close for her as it is for some students because her home is in Brazil. When she made the decision to leave her family and run on Elon's track team, she wasn't sure if she'd made the right choice.
This was really hard. I'm really close to them. I talk to them every day. So that was hard, but once I came in the first month, I was yeah, that was definitely the right thing.
Varisco de Oliveira runs the 800 meters for Elon's track and field team, and his training runs around 30 miles every week.
If I don't run for 1-2 days, I miss it. It makes me feel good.
According to Elon's 2019 registrar's report, there are only 3 students at Elon from Brazil. And for Varisco de Oliveira, it was the language barrier that she struggled with the most.
Things like speaking English with Brazilians that speak Portuguese, and another thing is speaking English with Americans, that everyone speaks English as their first language.
But at the end of the day, it's her teammates that make it all worth it.
Our team is really good about not just being teammates, but being friends, you know? So we are not friends just because of track. We are friends besides that.
Grace Morris, Elon Local News.
For more information, check out this week's edition of The Pendulum, which will be in both Spanish and English to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Caitlin Mundell, live in studio. Thank you.
Coming up, it's not every day you see Batman, Superman, and cows in the same place. We'll tell you what brought those characters together.
And a festival without its main attraction. We'll tell you what happened to the Carousel Festival's Carousel after the break.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Batman, Superman, and cows, oh my. It's not that common you get to see these characters running 5K, 10K, and 15K races, but it's par for the course at the Great Cape Escape. Our Christian Galvano has the story.
Strong and tough runners.
How much do you squat, sir? Tell me. Minimal. 500-600 pounds?
It looked like a comic book came to life around Elon's campus. For the 5th year in a row, people dressed up at the Great Cape Escape races. All of this is for Open Door Clinic. It's free for Alamance County residents, mainly serving patients in need of health care.
And the whole theme of superheroes fits really well with what these people are doing for the uninsured in our community.
Elon student physicians assistants volunteer at Open Door. They say the races are an opportunity to get Open Door's name out to the public.
People asking, oh, what's Open Door Clinic? And that me being able to tell them what it is and them knowing that it exists. So that's been also amazing.
A lot of families woke up early to run. They say the best part was giving back to their community.
This is obviously something that we know is going to help a lot of people that can use it, so it's a good cause and it's a lot of fun for us too.
Cohen's lined the street for direction, and by the way, running a 5K for a clinic doesn't always mean you walk away unscathed.
How you feel, boys? Good. Good? Yeah.
I got a little running blister.
But what was contagious was the energy at the final stretch. Spreading the encouragement to the runners brings smiles at the finish line.
Emmanuel, good job!
Christian Galvano, Elon Local News.
The Open Door Clinic says all of their races in the last 5 years have raised close to $100,000.
For the first time in more than 3 decades, the Burlington Carousel Festival was a little different. Our Ashley Moran has more.
The Burlington Carousel Festival took place this weekend without its crown jewel.
The 20th century carousel was in need of repairs. It was shipped to Ohio to be restored both artistically and mechanically, but still the festival carried on.
The restoration has been a big story in this community for a long time. So they know it, they understand it, they value it.
John Vernon works for the city's Office of Public Information, and even though the carousel was missing, Vernon is making sure its memory lives on.
And we've gotten a lot of different generations of people talking about what it's meant to have the carousel in Burlington and how it's meant to go from one generation to the next.
Tom Neal grew up riding the carousel. Now he is the vice president of Kiwanis in Burlington, a community service club. Neal says he's sold food, like these peanuts, at the festival for more than a decade, and that Burlington has a lot more to it than meets the eye.
We have great crowds every year, and I think you ought to come out and just see what's around Burlington, and it helps especially newer people to learn what we have here to offer 365 days a year.
Festival first-timers like Sharon Beal were impressed.
It's well attended, and just enjoyed the festivities and the music and the food.
But Vernon says those who knew what was missing were not as thrilled.
And then we had obviously little children now who are really angry that it's not here. I've been scolded a couple times.
And Vernon may have to put up with more scolding until the carousels return in the spring of 2021. Ashley Moran, Elon Local News.
Vernon says memories from the archive recording booth will be available on the City of Burlington's website, burlingtonnc.gov.
Well, Maeve, I've been to the Carousel Festival in the past. Didn't make it this year, but the carousel really is the thing that everybody wants to do there.
Well, it's called the Carousel Festival. And I even saw it on our assignment board and was like, ooh, that would be so fun. But
yeah. I know people like the little train that goes around too. The kids love that. Yeah. Well, that is all the news we have for you tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For all the news you need to know when we're not on the air, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And follow us on social media at Elon News Network. Have a great week, Elon.